Welcome to the Great American Collectible Show, seen Wednesdays on the Sports Collectors Daily Facebook page and the Great American Collectibles Facebook page. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Spotify. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by the National Sports Collectors Convention and Sports Collectors Daily. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all your hobby news, features, and more, go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now your host, Tom Zappola, and Red Sox Hall of Famer, Rico Petrocelli.
Rick. Well, hello there, everyone. Nice to talk. Nice to see you. Nice to be seen.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
When you played, did you ever play hurt?
Once in a while, yeah. Now, of course, everybody. You kidding me? You never play. You're totally healthy.
I'm playing hurt today.
I know. I know. Tell everybody what's wrong, please.
I ruptured a couple of discs.
You ruptured a couple of discs. Ho hum! Wow.
Oh, nothing you can do about it. Right now, I'm on some cut. No, yeah, it's been a little struggle the last week. So I'm not sitting at an angle because I think I'm cool. My left foot
whatever.
My left foot is up on a chair, and actually, see, this is what happens. All right, you got Derek and you got Brian. Derek,
I'm the more professional one, by the way.
You look a little puffy in the cheeks, by the way. You gained a little weight.
Listen, dude. Okay. If we need to get into this,
would you?
Are you on like prednisone or something?
No, I want to say that I had an allergic reaction before I came on the show. But just me. I went to New Orleans on a consignment trip, and I came back a pig. I don't know what happened, but I ate like total garbage. But I normally do. So, yeah. But thanks for noticing. That will not go unheard. Trust me.
Well, welcome to the Great American Collectible Show. Tom Zapp and Red Sox Hall of Famer, my paisan, Rico Petrocelli. You guys see both of these guys, Brian Dwyer from REA Auctions and Derek Grady from Heritage. We have been working on getting both of these guys on for a year now, just getting them on at the same time. They're both good friends. They both play off of each other, but they both help each other. Each company helps the other. So it's kind of a nice relationship. As a matter of fact, Brian, tell me about the Mickey Mantle behind you.
This is my homage to Derek and his greatness. This is the same card that sold for over $12 million.
Yeah.
And I look at it every day and remind myself that I got to catch Derek.
Yeah.
Now, Derek, did you pay for that? Did you give it to him as a gift?
Brian, no, before he comes out that I'm cheap, I'll just say it first. Yeah, I'm too cheap to. No, I own a bunch of Ferentinos and the 50. By the way, that's a beautiful. Is that an original painting?
It's an original John Post painting.
It is beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I don't know who's John Post.
John Post is an artist that did a series of maybe 24 ball cards. He did 52 Robinson and Mantle, and then he
beautiful.
Did,
it's really nice.
Felder.
Nice.
He did a whole bunch of different ones. So yeah, good work.
Hey, by the way, I know that you are a big James Fiorentino fan, Derek. And,
I have about 10 of his paintings.
Well, let me tell you something. TZ has had his hands off of this project, but for the last 6 months, Ellen and JM Mallory have been working with our publisher on a book with James. It's going to be fantastic. It's the same. It's going to be the same size as our book projects because he wants it as a coffee table book. I'll tell you what, this book is really going to be interesting because he's basing it like we had on the T206 book, where it's the painting, but the story behind the players and behind the painting. Really cool stuff. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, he's a good guy too. Real good guy.
James is a great guy. Great guy. All right, listen, we got a lot to talk about today. Brian, number one, you just launched an auction. This is not one of your bigger auctions, correct?
It's one of our monthly encore auctions. So it's still got 3,300 lots in it, but it's not the big spring catalog that launches on April 5th.
And Derek, you guys finished up your platinum. What do you got going right now?
So yeah, platinum was a success. The O-Pee-Chee case went absolutely,
Yeah,
more
what
than
was the final in that? Was it
3.5 million? Hang on.
3.7.
Oh, 20. No, 3.7. Brian had it. Yeah. Now I know what the overall auction did, but no, that did about 3.7. There's other people that thought, maybe it could go for more, maybe it would go less, but I think overall it was a strong number. But we have our March. Actually headed down to Dallas tomorrow to describe cards to people in our March auction that ends, and then we have a big May sale coming up. It's in the middle of May, 3-day auction with cards, memorabilia, lots of great pieces in there. Kind of like they have their big spring auction. We have our big May auction. So yours is in, when does yours end, Brian?
April 5th to the 21st, I believe.
Okay.
And Brian, when does your spring auction start, the big one?
April 5th.
And how long will that run for?
2.5 weeks.
21st.
2.5 weeks?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you're down to 2.5 weeks now, Brian?
Yeah. The beauty of the internet, all the bidding's done online. So you don't have to wait for people to go through every page of their catalog always. So, yeah.
All right.
We can do less auctions if you want, Brian.
I got a question for Derek. Derek, and the website, which I always watch you go to your guys' website. You have what seems like it's of Willie Mays. It's a lot of information. His bats, he was one of my favorites. I got some signed, game used. Wow.
Is this stuff that's on?
Is that the article that I had to write?
Yes.
Yeah. It's great. Very nice article, by the way.
Thank you. Well, it was just simply, I've always thought Willie Mays, when I was a kid, I grew up with Roberto Clemente was God. Mm-hmm. Stargell was up there also, but I looked at card values when I was collecting as a kid, and I just, I understand Mickey Mantle, but his cards were worth double, triple what Mays, Aaron, Clemente were worth. And I thought Mays and Aaron had the numbers that were even better than Mantle, and I just thought they were undervalued. But then when you look at Mays overall as a player, I don't know how anybody could have somebody above him other than Babe Ruth. I think
as an all-around.
I think he's the second best all-around player, and if there wasn't a Babe Ruth, he'd be first. So therefore, I think his game-worn jerseys, his cards, his memorabilia, and I know he's been ill the past several years, and he hasn't been doing shows or signings, but he literally, I'm expecting when he passes, he gets, people realize what he did for the game, and he went up through, when blacks couldn't play. Yeah. And he had to face racism and all that stuff too. And he's came up with, incredible numbers, incredible fielder. So I thought last article I did was on why Thurman Munson should be in the Hall of Fame. This one was on why Willie Mays is the second greatest player of all time.
Brian, what are your thoughts on Mays?
No, I agree. He's, for a guy that's got the numbers that he does and had the longevity that he's had, that he had, it always felt like he hadn't gotten total respect in the collecting market. So I agree. He's one of the all-time greats.
All right, I'm going to throw the question out. The merger, PSA, SGC. What are your thoughts, Brian, since you're up? What are your thoughts on the merger? Good for the hobby, bad for the hobby? Is it going to change the pricing structures of authentication? Are they going to raise their prices? SGC's rates going to go up? What are your thoughts on all of this?
Look, I think the jury's still out. I think it's very interesting. I think that there's a lot of things that PSA can bring to SGC that would be very positive for the hobby. I think PSA's tech, as much as SGC's improved in recent years, PSA's tech blows SGC tech away. And if they can bring a registry, or if they can incorporate SGC cards onto their registry and really get people building sets and SGC holders, like, Derek and I worked there 15 years ago. We were trying to get people to build sets and SGC holders. So I think if they can get a registry going, and if they can really build up that secondary market better than it already is, then it's going to be a great boon for the hobby. As far as pricing and submission rates, who knows? But I think it'll be interesting to watch and see how it all plays out.
What about the cracking of SGC holders? People submitting them to PSA. You think there's going to be an increase in that? I have an SGC 4. Now that they're merging, should I send it up to PSA, have them crack it, and maybe I'll luck out?
Well, I think it's been going on for years. I mean, you've always had people play the crossover game, so I don't think anything's going to change there. As far as what we've seen and what we've heard from collectors, at least in the last week or two since the news broke, is that it's really going to be business as usual for the time being until it all plays out. I don't think there's any reason to panic. I don't think there's any reason to crack all your SGC cards. Certainly us, we're doing the same that we always do. We've got a ton of SGC cards coming up for auction. We're submitting a ton of cards to SGC still. So, we'll just watch with everybody else.
Derek?
When I first heard the news, I was like, I do believe in competition. I think competition is great. Even if I own my own auction company and I was the only auction company, I don't think you're pushed unless you're pushed by your competitors. So I think it's good to have competition. That being said, you said the term merger. I've been told multiple times it is not a merger. It is collectors. The holding company bought SGC. And SGC makes money and they're keeping it as a separate grading company. And of course, could they come in? They own it. They can do whatever they want. Peter is the CEO of SGC, and Dave was the owner. He's not anymore. Peter's still the CEO of SGC, but anything can happen. But I think if they keep doing what they're doing, they do a lot of shows now. They're out there, beating the path to get cards. They're doing very well. Their prices realized are getting better. I would like, since Brian and I were at SGC when we were the little engine that could 15 years ago together, and we were fighting PSA, it would be nice. Basically PSA just endorsed SGC, in my opinion. I don't think PSA would buy a grading company where they didn't think the graders could grade. They know the graders at SGC can grade. They've always known that. I've never agreed why they don't cross over as many cards. They should. Now I would think, since they definitely took this position that they know what they're doing, they should cross over more cards, at least the best ones, the ones that make the most sense. But I like them being separate, and we continue to support both companies. Those are the two companies we support. That's, I think people liked it to hear, because there's always rumblings. I'm sure Brian's heard it. Like, we should start a grading company. PSA bought SGC. There should be another grading company now. There should be that. Now the PSA.
You asked that question.
And I don't think Brian would have the desire, and I certainly wouldn't have the desire, because we know what it's like to compete against PSA when we were at SGC, and there's a lot that goes into it. You see all these companies. By the way, during the pandemic, a lot of companies popped up. Did you notice that? A lot of grading companies popped up.
Yeah.
Where are they now? Where are they now?
Well, that Rico brought this question up, Rico, about the monopoly. What was it, last week or the week before?
Yeah.
About, Beckett is out there, hanging out there with 4% of the sales or whatever it is. I mean, is there a possibility? I'm going to ask both of you guys this. You first, Eric. Is there a possibility that some cutie pies are going to, could we see a class action suit against collectors for having a monopoly now?
I mean,
on the grading of cards.
Well, first of all, yeah, there's still two separate. Yeah, you're right. They own both. That being said, there's still a Beckett, there's still a CSG, and these things are very hard. Anybody could say, well, there should be. There's lots of cases in the country right now that could get litigated. It would take forever. I don't, and now look, now you've got SGC over here that prides itself on customer service, quicker turnaround time. PSA has longer turnaround time. They're a bigger company. They do 50% now almost in trading card game cards like Pokemon, and they have an office in Japan. I think maybe more collectors will start using SGC. I mean, the good news is, PSA gets all the revenue now. Collectors gets all the revenue. I don't think it's antitrust. I mean, I think there's a lot of other things in this country that probably are, but if it is, I guess it would have to be litigated. But we're business as usual. Like Brian said, they are at REA. We endorse both companies, and I don't know who would bring that lawsuit on. If there's not one against Fanatics for everything they've been doing, then I don't see how there could be one here.
That's a good point. Yeah. Brian?
I agree. I mean, it doesn't mean that somebody won't try, but I think that the fact that they're operating as two separate entities, the fact that there are still other legitimate players like Beckett and CSG, I think it'd be a hill climb.
What about investment portfolios? Talk a little bit about that, guys, would you?
I mean, we've talked about that too, Rico.
But it
seems as though, and I think it's personally, I like it. I'm going to use me as an example, where my investment guy has taking the time to really learn about vintage, because I'm vintage baseball cards, and is really taking the time. And we go back and forth on discussions about particular cards to buy. He asked me my thoughts. We talk about it, and I'll make a purchase, and I'm accomplishing two things. I'm buying the card for the love of the card, and I'm making it part of my investment portfolio. And it's working out pretty damn good. I think a lot of collectors are starting to gravitate in that direction. What do you guys think? You can go first, Brian, since you're on camera, big time.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that for years we've seen people incorporating these cards and memorabilia as part of an investment strategy. I mean, I've always said I think that you can do well with it. I don't think that you should put more into it than you're comfortable losing. I think at the end of the day, you should do your research before you invest in anything, whether it's stocks or sports cards. But yeah, I mean, the truth of the matter is that Derek and I deal with a lot of people that are investing, and they're investing a portion of their net worth into this material, and they're seeing returns on vintage. You know, vintage has been a pretty good area to put your money in. Modern, less so historically. So it's legitimate. You just have to have the understanding and the knowledge of what you're doing, because like anything, you can lose it all tomorrow. And if that's what you're putting your portfolio squarely in and on,
then you're nuts.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
Derek?
Look, the collectors that got in early on PSA, they have cashed, that are still holding on or have cashed out. We sold a very famous PSA collector's collection that did over 30 million. He might have had 10 million in it. I mean, because he got in early. If you got in early, you're good. I still see plenty of cards undervalued. Blue chip stuff. Speculating on rookies, it usually doesn't end well. It just doesn't. And now they're playing shorter careers. More guys are retiring earlier than ever. They get hurt more often than ever. And it makes you wonder. I mean, look, as soon as Trout, that card sells for $4 million or something like that, the guy's been on the DL every year.
Yeah.
And why did that even sell for that?
See, you're a big modern guy.
What'd you say?
I said you're a big modern guy.
So I'm not a modern guy. I'm not just a modern guy.
One thing to learn is vintage best of the best. Okay.
Yeah.
If you buy the best jersey of this player, you buy the best bat of this player, somebody will come around. You buy the best card, and it's nice for the condition, as Brian knows. Grading. You guys know this too, Tom. You've seen 4s that don't look like 4s. You've seen 4s that look like 6s, 4s that look like 2s. Okay. Yeah. If you buy, I've always said this at SGC. Buy the when I was there when the doors opened at SGC in 1998. Buy the card, not the holder. If let me qualify that by saying if you're buying PSA and SGC, because you already know really solid graders graded it. Okay. Now look at the condition of the card within. I'm not talking for the smaller grading companies. If you're just buying PSA and SGC, buy high-end cards for the grade. You're always going to do well if you're buying vintage, in my opinion.
Yeah, but hold on, Brian. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate for a second. For a hobbyist that is not really in tune with what you're saying, from an investment standpoint, if he's looking at the grade and not the card, okay, he's probably going to lean towards the grade because of the value of the card in that holder. So if a card looks like a 6, but it's graded a 4, a novice investor or a novice hobbyist is probably going to lean towards just buying. You know what I mean?
Hey, wait, can I just say?
You know what I'm saying, Brian, Derek? It could be a 6 that is graded a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their investment is going to be like that, isn't it?
Yeah, but look, I think it was at the last national I was at. I saw a kid looking at the cards. He bought a card. He says, man, and this kid's maybe 12 years old. Boy, this is going to be worth X amount someday.
Was it a vintage card or a modern card? You
It
remember?
was a modern, not what it was. When I say modern, it probably was
70s, 80s, 60s.
maybe 60. Something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
hate that.
But I mean, but that's the thing is, in their minds, they're thinking
That's
because
wrong.
everyone is thinking money, 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 especially with the inflation. Let's face it. I mean, that's another question about the economy.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. We're going to take a quick break because he's hitting a point about modern and ultra. I'm going to use my grandson. I've used him a couple of times as an example, and it frustrates me, but I'm working on him. Derek is in the house.
I don't want to say anything.
Brian is in the house.
You two guys, I mean, you're experts. No, okay, seriously. Not him,
You are,
you.
too. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying, selling cards, and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, mile high. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back and we are chatting with our good friends Brian Dwyer from REA Auctions, Robert Edward Auctions, Robert Edwards Auction. Or was it Robert Edward? What is it? Edward or Edwards, Brian?
Edward singular, auctions plural.
Thank you. And Derek Grady from Heritage Auctions.
Two gentlemen that are,
They know
I'll,
this stuff.
I'll call them experts.
All right. Right now,
Thank you, Rick.
we started a new segment a couple of weeks ago, about a week ago, actually. And we let go of the another Gax moment. It kind of ran its.
I thought you
course.
did a hell of a job. All kidding aside, but I wish you hadn't.
So, what we decided to do is, I'm going back into the archives of the Great American Collectible Show and extracting little 1-minute vignettes of stupid things that we've done, not just myself, but Rico and JM. So this is we were asked way back, how many years ago was that, Rico? We did those commercials about 6-7 years.
Oh, yeah.
In the old studio, John Brogy asked us to do a couple of promo commercials, just audio, for the National. So we went into the studio, and do you remember I had the script like on a chair, just so we could read it because it wasn't going to be recorded, the video. But we thought you guys would like to see the video. So this is about 4 or 5 takes that Rico did to promote the National.
I did.
You guys, you were with me. You guys are not going to see it right now, Brian, and you're just going to hear it, but you'll see it when it is. Let's let it roll, Chrissy.
I'm Tom Zappola.
And I'm Rico Petrocelli. Join us at the National Sports Collectors Convention from August 1st through the 5th at the IX Center in Cleveland, Ohio.
We're going to be broadcasting the Great American Collectibles Show live on the Berkus stage on Friday, August 3rd from 2 to 4 p.m.
Stop by and say hello, will you? And we even may have a session.
Say it again.
Stop by and say hi. We may even have a few giveaways.
That's the National Sports Collectors Convention. See you there. I'm Tom Zappola.
And I'm Rico Petrocelli. Join us at the National Sports Collectors Convention from August 1st through the 5th at the IX Center in Cleveland, Ohio.
We're going to be broadcasting the Great American Collectibles Show live on the Berkus. You can't. I'm begging you. I am begging to breathe. I couldn't breathe. You know when you laugh?
I couldn't breathe.
Hi, I'm Rico Petrocelli.
And I'm Tom Zappola. Don't pay any attention. I just said.
I thought you said, don't pay any attention.
I'm going to say
Oh, you're going to. Hi, I'm Rico Petrocelli.
And I'm Tom Zappola, but don't pay any attention to me.
Join us at the National Sports Collectors Convention from August 1st through the 5th at the IX Center in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. See some of sports' biggest celebrities who will be on hand, and with support from the major card manufacturers, card grading services, and the best auction houses and card dealers in the country. There's something for everyone. For more information on the biggest hobby event of the year, go to sgcshow.com. That's the National Sports Collectors Convention. I'll see you there.
So will I.
Think we finally got it right at some point in time.
Actually, there was a mistake in that one.
I know. Oh, that wasn't the final one that we did. But that was a fun day. And especially when you started laughing, you guys can't see this right now. I mean, you two guys can't see it. But Rico started suffocating because his belt was too tight and he was having a hard time breathing. Anyways, all right, we are chatting with Brian Dwyer and Derek Grady. I want to tell you guys, so using my grandson as an example, he's 11 years old. And when he really got into cards because of me, getting him into the hobby, and he loves it. He's really a fun collector and he loves, but it's all modern and ultra modern. And he really got into the habit by listening to a certain individual who is probably the biggest influencer in the hobby. I know you guys both know I think you know who I'm talking about, but he listens to this guy, and this guy has, I don't know, 1 million followers, and 8 out of 10 times he's giving bad information out and bad advice, in my opinion. No, I could be wrong. So he's made my grandson's made a couple of purchases that I kind of advised him against, but he did it. But now he's learning because we're working with him and learning about the love of collecting rather than the investment. The love comes first. It's starting to click. What do you guys? Again, Brian, I know we've talked about it, but I'm going to ask you again, Brian. These influences on young modern, young kids. What are your thoughts on them?
Well, I mean, I think it's with anybody in any position of influence, whether you're a social media influencer or whether you're somebody like Derek and I, who people listen to from time to time. You gotta trust but verify, right? You've got to do your other research. You can't just listen to one voice. You can't just consume content from one place. So I think that the influencers on social media actually expanded our hobby pretty significantly over the last several years. And there's a lot of good that's been done by many of them, not all of them, but by many of them.
Yeah.
But with anything, in any walk of life, in any collecting discipline, trust but verify. Don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe everything you read. And there's a lot of information out there that you can consume, and you got to make sure it's good.
Derek?
What he said, it goes with everything in life. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people screaming louder than other people of what to buy, what to do, and you got to take it all in. You got to listen to, different people, but you got to buy what you like and enjoy it. It really is a hobby. People do this because they enjoy it. Yes, there's an investment angle to it, of course, more than ever. And there's a lot of people that made money early on that got killed after they went back in and doubled down. They made a bunch of money on their LeBron RPAs and their Jordan rookies and such. Mine would have been gone too. I have a PSA 9 Jordan rookie. I've always had one. That was the one I opened up as a kid and submitted it. Had I had a 10, my 10 would have been gone. And I love Jordan, probably favorite athlete of all time. I would say it would have been, when it hit 75 grand to 100 grand, it would have been gone. And I'm in this day in and day out. And right. I didn't see it going to 700 grand. And then back down to 500, then back down to 4, 3, 2. Now it's 200. Okay. But that's where it stayed. And we just sold one for over 3. But again, it could have been based on how high end it was.
Before you asked that question. Which one?
But what I wanted to say too was the one thing that's demonstrably changed. And Brian, I see Brian's teams out there at a lot of trade shows. I don't think Brian's at a lot of trade shows. He's too busy, but I do about 10 trade shows. And I will tell you this, I've never seen shows this busy in my life. Like literally it is a zoo at the Philly show now. Sundays are still packed. The small shows are packed. The one-day shows are packed. And that's really good. So to what Brian said about the influencers, bringing in more people, talking about it, more YouTube channels talking about it. Fanatics is involved now. Michael Rubin's going to shows. He was just at the Philly show. Okay. You've got billionaires going to shows now. You have people tweeting about them. You got to be careful getting caught up. And when somebody told me, one of my employees in Long Beach told me, that show out there in California, it was very busy, a lot of modern. And he told me what a box of cards was selling for. And I said, wait a minute, $600, what can you pull? And he named about 1 or 2 cards that he could pull from that box to break even or make a little money. That's 1 out of how many boxes? I mean, and people are still buying up all these boxes. So I'm hoping there's a gambling aspect of this, but it's like you might have a better chance playing blackjack at a casino and winning than you do buying some of these modern boxes.
Well, you're kind of making my point. Without overstepping the boundaries here, I do have a problem with some of these influences that are out there, not all of them. But what about the card companies? I mean, how many one-of-ones can you manufacture?
It's jumped the shark. It has. I mean, they've gone way overboard. I mean, they're sticking pieces of hats and spikes. And it went from a jersey card to now you have a piece of a spike, a piece of a base. The cards are extra. I mean, I don't even know what's attractive about that.
But not only that, but you can have, Brian, please jump in here. You can have a Patrick Mahomes card. You said before we went on the air, how many different Patrick Mahomes cards are there? Hundreds.
Rookies? You mean rookies?
Yeah, rookies. So
I know Trevor Lawrence has over 1,000, and I was
okay. So the point being,
probably has over 500.
So point being, theoretically, there could be 25 Patrick Mahomes rookie cards, 1-of-1. So
how many?
I'm just throwing up.
There's probably 500 1-of-1s.
Right, 1-of-1s. Yeah. Excuse me. So is that a good thing?
I don't see how it's a good thing, but how about this? And Brian, correct me where I'm wrong here. After he won his first Super Bowl, and then he lost one, and then he's won two more, has his card reached a higher peak? You see, they already price it as he's Tom Brady, and Tom Brady cards have come down.
Right.
Okay, so that's the problem. We get way too ahead of ourselves. Okay, like the guy doesn't even have to do it. Like, if Patrick Mahomes cards will go down if he doesn't win a Super Bowl next year. Okay, but they may not go up a lot more if he does, which doesn't make sense. But again, we're here talking about it, and people are enjoying it.
Derek, but the manufacturers don't care
Right.
about
They
the
do not.
industry.
They want to
They
sell
don't.
cards.
You're right.
They want to sell cards, and they're just going to throw them out.
Brian,
They just-
go ahead. Go ahead, Derek. No,
They just want to sell cards. Hey, we've done this before in the 90s. If you remember, I'm old. We had a ton of people coming into the hobby in the 80s, in the early 90s, and they started mass producing cards. They were everywhere. Stores popped up everywhere.
Yeah.
Shows were everywhere. And there was way too much card. Now,
Yeah,
keep
but
in mind,
it was different, Derek. It was
packs were
different.
$1.50, and you could
Yeah,
buy
but
boxes
Derek-
for $50.
Right, but it was
$50.
different because they were mass producing bulks of cards.
Yes.
There was no there weren't 300 one of one weighed boxes.
But you know what
I'm
they
saying?
do, Tom? Here's the good news. I don't have the numbers on me because I haven't done a study, but Brian knows this as well. For every 100 people that come in, they come in through modern. What percentage of those trickle back into the vintage? A lot of them do. I started with modern.
That's a good thing.
We all
That's
did.
a good thing.
So I'm telling you, people do. And then some of them cross over to the memorabilia too. They are going to find REA. They're going to find heritage. They will find us, and they're going to say, wow, that's really cool. And if they keep getting their ass handed to them on modern, they will start buying some Mickey Mantle cards and some Ty Cobbs, even in low grade. Start at a 1, start at a 2. The more people in this business, they will find the vintage, is my
Brian,
point.
what are your thoughts on the whole one of one thing?
Well, I agree with Derek that it's completely overblown at this point. But I mean, I say it frequently. What he just described,
Segue right into those.
I call modern a gateway. You know, it's people's entrance. You're at a Walmart, you're at a Target, you're at a card shop. You buy a pack of cards. You think this is cool, and you stay, and you end up collecting Mickey Mantle. So I'm all for the modern cards, but the one-of-ones are out of control.
Yeah. What about the economy versus the hobby? We were talking about earlier. What's your feeling on it?
I mean, I think historically the hobby's always done well when the economy's done poorly. It's served as a great hedge for people. If you look historically at pricing, if you look at the biggest REA auctions, you look at the biggest heritage auctions, they've been in some of the most uncertain times. You know, people like the fact that they can put their money in something that's relatively stable. It's going to store their value. You put that same money into Tesla, Elon Musk wakes up on the wrong side of the bed and it all disappears.
Yeah, that's a damn
It's
good
gone
point.
down.
Damn good
Tesla's
point.
gone down a
You know,
lot.
Yeah.
Good point.
The economy certainly will cause some people to pull back, but it'll also cause some people to dive in.
So I'm going to ask you, Derek, I'll direct this to you, and then Brian, you can follow up. So based on what Brian's talking about with the economy, things are a little tight right now for a lot of people. Are prices stable on vintage, or are they kind of trickling down, trickling up, or remaining pretty much where they are?
You know, I follow I follow a handful of other auctions, and I was shocked to see, some common cards in Brian's auction, and we get it too. But in nines and 1960 baseball commons, and like I said, we get these results too. We have the same clients, but it is the set builders are going crazy right now. I feel like during the economy when it's down, people still have money for cards. It's like food, clothing, shelter, and cards. If you're a collector, you're still finding the money to do it. The prices are on commons. I haven't seen these since these crazy prices on one of ones and one of twos for 15 years. They were always something that would be like, holy crap, it went for $5,000. But when it sells for 15 to 20 and it should really be 5, you're like, something's going on here. So there's a lot of competition on the registry. Yeah. Also, to your point, maybe can you get a Green Ruth 8 for the same you could have a few years ago. Maybe it's not up, but it's not that down. I don't think there's a lot of deals on blue chip cards that we talk about all the time here. I don't think, our 52 Mantle 8s down from their high point of 2 million. Yeah, you can look at VCP and find that out. Okay. And, but it's still when blue chip comes down, it only comes down a little bit. When that modern speculative stuff comes down, it's a crash and burn.
So what are your cards worth now?
My card?
Yeah.
$1.50, I think.
How much?
$1.50. No, I have no idea, and I really don't care.
I would like to think Rico's cards are going up.
Can I tell you something? Hold on. A signed Rico Petrocelli card.
Huh?
Signed Rico Petrocelli card. PSA sold for $10,000.
That was.
I don't care. Somebody bought it.
But baseball,
no, what was it grade? Was it like a 9 autograph or 10 autograph?
Yeah, 10 autograph.
But it was.
Go ahead.
No, baseball in the past, at least, when times were bad, even during the war, they still would draw. A lot of
there you
people.
Go. Yeah.
And sports now, you're talking about the economy. Everybody's worried. These in all sports, they're packing the places.
And the other thing is, there's a lot more sports that are being offered today.
Oh, that's true.
A ton more.
Sports is an escape. Look at the ticket prices for these games, for playoff games. Okay, I know some ticket brokers. The prices, I can't even believe what some of the prices cost just to go to a Knicks game, even if the Knicks aren't good, or go to the Boston Garden. People still find time to do this.
Brian, we got about 2 minutes. We got about 2 minutes left before we take this segment ends. Brian, let's talk about 70s vintage, using that as an example. 70s are now vintage cards. A lot of people consider them vintage. Is that segment of the hobby going to increase in pricing? Like, obviously for me, for Rico, pre-walk cards, 33 Gaudis, that stuff is all valuable. That's what we collect. But for the, for the Gen Z, the Gen X's, whatever they are, the 40-year-old guys, the 42-year-old, the 45-year-olds, those 70s cards, that Wade Boggs card, that Freddie Lynn card, that Jim Rice card, are those cards going to ever kind of creep up?
I think they'll creep up, but I don't think they'll ever get to, the Babe Ruth and the Honus Wagner and that.
No. Yeah.
You're just dealing with pure supply issues in the 70s and onward. So, yeah, I think as 40-year-olds and 30-year-olds continue to make more money and advance in their careers and spend money on their hobbies, 70s and 80s cards will start to appreciate somewhat, but you're just going to run into a supply glut
at some point.
Yeah.
All right, listen, we're going to take a break. We are chatting with Brian Dwyer from REA Auctions, our good friends, both good friends, Derek Grady from Heritage. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, it's On Deck with Rico. Hang in, we'll be right back.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you are a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on their tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Hey, I'm Mike Petroselli. If your company is looking for the best in marketing and promotional items, you'll hit a home run with Petroselli Marketing. With over 8,000 suppliers and 650,000 imprint-ready items, we can get your company the visibility it needs to get your maximum exposure. Whether it be office promotions, wearables, automotive, sports items, and everything in between, Petroselli Marketing can do it all. Our design staff will even work with you from concept to delivery and customize your products. At Petroselli Marketing Group, we will get your brand in front of your audience. Contact us at info@petrosellimkt.com or call us at 603-880-3202. That's Petroselli Marketing, where no dream is impossible.
Absolutely. Give them a call because they have accounts all over the place. Now, that's my oldest son. I have 4 sons.
Well, you started the company.
Yeah, I started the company in 1999. He took over. I just said, kid, it's yours.
They threw you out.
Yeah, exactly. But I was getting old. No, but this kid is 6 feet 7 inches.
He's an athlete, too.
He played college ball. He's a great kid. He's a good businessman. My other 3 sons are doing well, so I'm blessed to have them. But he'll do a great job for you. So
can you have him send me a goddamn pen?
I'm gonna get it. Yeah,
I mean something. All right, it is time for our segment On Deck with Rico.
Really?
Brought to you by our good friend.
Number 6 in our hearts. What? Number 1 in our hearts.
I'm sorry.
On
Is that a real kid?
Rico Petroselli.
All right, that was my bad. I'm sorry, Chrissy. Chrissy always slaps me in the head because I always.
Well, that's all right. Listen,
all right, it is time for our segment On Deck with Rico, brought to you by our good friend who happens to be here, Brian Dwyer, and the great staff at REA Auctions.
Yeah.
Don't forget to get your bid in by going to robertedwardauctions.com. That's Robert Edward Auctions for extraordinary results and extraordinary service.
Yeah.
This week's question was submitted by a gentleman whose name is Dan Mahoney.
Dan, okay.
Irish name.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think I've ever asked you this question. Rico, what is your favorite memory about playing in the big league?
Let's see. 13 seasons.
And by the way, guys, jump in here.
I'm supposed to know what my favorite thing was, right?
Your favorite memory.
Hopefully it wasn't showering with Yaz or something like that. Hopefully that wasn't.
No. No, I'm thinking my first hit when I was a call-up in way back 63.
Off of who?
Lee Stang, hanging curve, and hit it off the wall. So that was
first hit, major league hit.
Yeah.
Did they give you the ball?
Yeah, I still have the ball. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good
one.
one.
The other one was my favorite memory is, couple home runs in the World Series, then hitting the 40 home runs. So it's hard to really just say one,
Okay. How about your favorite memories with players, the guys you played with?
Favorite memory?
Yeah. With the 75 guys. The 60,
you mean what team?
Yeah.
Yeah. 67 team was a young team. We were like college kids. We were just jumping all over the place, or, coming in, couldn't wait to play. And it was a very exciting year. And the 75 World Series was a great series. We were talking about that the other day. Pete Rose and, of course, Joe Morgan, those guys, the Big Red Machine. They were a great team, but we had a lot of talent on our team, too. So
let me tell you something.
series.
I still say, and you guys, I know you're pretty young. I don't know if you remember the 75 series, but I say to this day,
you're talking to me?
If Jimmy Rice didn't get hurt, you guys win the series.
Yeah, if
he didn't break his wrist, you guys win that series.
He would have done something here. So anyway, yeah, that's it's tough for any player to pick out one. Look at Nolan Ryan, seven no hitters. Say, Nolan, which one was your favorite?
Well, I'm sure you could answer that.
All seven.
You guys have any questions for Mr. Petroselli regarding that, Brian?
Listen, Rico lived what we all wanted to do. I mean, I think every one of us, I could be wrong, but most of my friends growing up, everybody wanted to be a professional athlete. Rico lived that dream, I think, and I understand what he's saying. I don't know if he still has to pinch himself, but he went through some really great moments there in Boston. And was a key contributor to I'm kissing Rico's ass right now for some reason, but he was a key contributor to the team. I mean, he's in the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame. And he played with a lot of Hall of Famers there, with Carlton Fisk and Jim Rice, and Dewey Evans could be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, there's
George Smith.
No, it was a dream come true. You hit it done right in the note.
And so
Brian,
that was all I wanted to do.
Envious.
Anyway,
Brian, your thoughts?
Did you want to be a pro ball player?
I always wanted to run an auction house as a kid.
No, you did not.
Everybody
did. Rico.
Dreams of playing baseball. Rico, you caught Mickey Mantle's last out, right?
Last out, yeah. Oh my,
that's cool.
Yeah, Brian. Let's not go down that road. All right, what's that ball worth?
Oh, jeez.
No, nothing.
Okay.
Bucks.
What about what was the other one? There was another one that you had.
67.
Oh, the 67.
Last out.
The last out to clinch the pennant. To essentially clinch the pennant.
Right. It was.
Gave that one away too.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, there's some diehard Red Sox fans out there that would like to have that.
You guys, I'm not going to tell the story again. I've told it, but the cap, the the greatest story of all time.
Okay. That was a good one.
The Red Sox.
That was a great story. Great story.
But anyway, look, I was fortunate to play. I loved it, and
you were good too. That's the difference. I wouldn't want to make it and suck. And I probably would have.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Yeah. No, you were good.
You were good.
This industry is really, it's excited me. I'm not on every week anymore because of my old age, but seriously, I like to
Tom's
listen to
budget
you
for the
guys.
show.
I'm not a collector. My era, the guys never.
But you have a hell of a collection.
I got stuff. Yeah, I mean, but and so I love listening to you guys. I'm thinking as I'm listening to you that there's collectors out there listening and watching, and I say, the stuff you give is great advice for them. I hope they're taking it in, and because you guys have been in the industry
and they're good at it. I gotta tell you.
So I love the industry.
Well, I think we're in it long term. We want, again, you can't we want our customers long term, 20, 30, 40 years. You give people bad advice, you treat them wrong, they're going to leave and never come back. Absolutely. Both of our companies are growing, and I think
you guys are the cream of the crop. You really are. And both of you guys, and I'm being honest with you.
Brian will have to watch his other episodes to see if he says
I put you. Listen, I put you guys. I put you. I put Brian. I put Hef, JP. You guys. I mean, you guys run. And there's I mean, even and Brian Drent. You guys run great operations. You've got great reputations. You guys are honest, and people love you. Speaking of which, I'm going to speak for this guy. I know he gets pissed at me. No, I'm speaking.
You know what I love? I love when the father. I think if my kids were young, I would, and one of them what was in it not in the industry as a collector. It's a great thing for father and son. And we've seen mothers and sons.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Come in there and just look at and they're suggesting it. I said, that's great. This is great. With all that's going on, in our world today, you get the kids interested and the father, you're with the parent. It's great.
You had a great career, and you really did. And I listen, people back home, you guys. People back home, Rico has a reputation. And if you read any Boston paper and they mention Rico, it always says beloved Red Sox player Rico Petrocelli because of the way he is now. He has. I've never ever seen you blow anybody off for an autograph or just talking to people.
It's a whole story, but let's get back to this.
No, let's talk about CSA.
Hey, I'm gonna read this. I hope I can't see without my glasses.
He will screw.
So why don't I put that on?
He's going to screw it up.
It's so great to be here. Great to be alive. Well, listen, CSA Shows is proud to present the Chantilly Show being held on April 5th through the 7th. It's held at the Dulles Expo Center in Chantilly, Virginia, just minutes from the Dulles International Airport, celebrating 28 years at the same location. There'll be over 450 plus dealer tables exhibiting on over 100,000 square feet of space. With both vintage sports cards and memorabilia, as well as modern day sports treasures, you won't have to look very far for that special card, bat, ball, or autograph. Major auction houses and third-party grading companies will be on site to assist you with your collecting and authentication needs. Some of your favorite superstars will be on hand. This is amazing, including Iron Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, NFL stars of today, CeeDee
Lamb.
Oh, CeeDee Lamb. Okay. I was going to say CEO. CeeDee Lamb, Tariq Hill. He's a good one.
Yeah.
Max Crosby, Football Hall of Famers, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Jerry Rice, and a very rare public signing appearance by John Elway, and many more. Over 50 guests in total. For more information, go to www.csashows.com. That's shows with an S. That's the Chantilly Show, where you can find all of your sports collectible treasures.
Good job.
Give me some oxygen.
All right, guys, we're just about out of time. Brian, your auction site, website address, you got the auction going on right now. It is?
Yeah, RobertEdwardAuctions.com. Bids are due by 9 p.m. on Sunday.
And then your spring auction starts April
5th. We'll be set up at the Chantilly Show. If you're in the area, come by, check out all the highlights that we'll have with us. That auction runs the 5th through the 21st of April.
And Derek, Your next big auction is
so our card and ticket auction ends March 22nd and 23rd. That's this week, Friday and Saturday. ha.com/sports. And then we have our big May auction, May 16th to the 18th. And we will also be at the Chantilly show. So you can stop by and see REA and Heritage.
awesome. One last thing about Mr. Petroselli. I'm going to say one last thing. They say that you are a two-time All-Star, but in reality, they used to tell you when you played whether or not you could go. How many All-Star games?
Five.
He would have been a 5-time All-Star had the Red Sox let him go to the All-Star games.
That's a whole nother story.
Think about that.
Anyway,
That's crazy
no, it's
stuff.
okay.
No, that's a
this has
better
been
stat.
fun.
I like that.
Yeah.
You
They
guys,
should
thanks for
update
being
that.
here. Really great, Brian.
Yep.
Thanks for
Good to
having
see
us.
you guys.
Eric, thanks so much.
Brian, thank you so much. Derek, thank you so much. You know what you guys mean to us. You guys have been one of the foundations of this show. And despite what Derek says, a pretty successful
To take
show.
him out to dinner for pizza.
Yeah, he's got more money
He's
than
fucking
anyone.
up, you know, Brian.
Go ahead.
Hey, Tom, Wade Boggs doesn't have cards till the 80s, 1983. Okay. So when you said the 70s, you're giving misinformation out there to our listeners.
See?
I catch
All right,
these
guys.
things.
We're
All right, take
learning.
care.
He's learning.
Have a great
Take
week.
care, guys.
To all of our viewers and listeners, again, thanks for the support and happy collecting.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.